to everybody out there. I always hear people talking about what type of women are these, or women do this, and always women do this, and there's certain types of women that do this and women that do that. This is not a woman thing. Let me tell you all, this is not about women. This is about types of people. There's types of people out there who are so creative they can actually persuade you to do anything that they want you to do. And they'll walk around like as though they're simple. You'll even go back and go as far as to say they're stupid, yeah? Now, if they happen to be a woman, which most men get into that situation, because a lot of men are just gentlemen. Gentlemen meaning you're a rational person, where you're a very rational, sensible sort of a person in your very approach, but then your behaviour, yeah, is gentle and considerate. That's a gentleman. Then you have a man who's ethical. He's not a gentleman. He's the person that looks like he's rough. He's rough. He's aggressive, yeah. But he's not. But he's nice. But he does his things nicely, but with aggression. They're the two different types of people. And then it's vice versa for women. So when you're getting a woman and you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, oh, all women are like this. Maybe it's not all women like this. Maybe it's that very woman that you're dealing with. I'm not saying to you that you should throw that woman away. I'm not saying that woman is no good, that we should pass judgment and call bad people bad or call people good. What I'm saying is we need to stop with these rhetorics that it's women or it's men. It's people. It's absolutely people. There are some men, and there's a hell of a lot of men out there. They're getting bullied by their women. They're feeling held back, and they're not even weak people. They could knock out 10 men. Some of them are making good money. They're very good looking. They've got everything they need to go forward in life, but don't realise the power of persuasion. And it's not because you're a woman. It's not because you're a man. It's because you're able to persuade. Just because the government tells you and society has grown you up to believe that because you've got a penis, you're a man. Because you've got a vagina, you're a woman. Yeah, by biology, by physics, yeah. But by psychology, no, not necessarily. So the only thing I'm going to say is stop saying that it's a woman thing, because it's not. We need to stop talking about, Me Too movements. What about the men? It's not about men and it's not about women. It's about people. It's about understanding what people are going through. Listen, next time somebody's talking to you and tell about their wife, instead of saying to them, it's your woman, you have to look after her. Oh, you can't hit a woman. Oh, it's your mum, you've got to love her. No, what you should do is listen to what someone's saying and hear what their pain is. They could be struggling. They probably haven't got any idea of what's going on. But because the rhetoric's that they're a man and the men should just put their head forward and carry on, they're going to try to carry on. But if they feel like how you would describe a woman, but only a man, highly emotional, they care a lot about what's going on, why should they be made to feel like as though they're lesser than anybody else? When they're not. They're not lesser than anybody else. They're the same. They're just soft because what's wrong with being soft? Sometimes it's better to be soft when you come into your approach and you can be soft. As there is times where it's better to be rough. It's not better to be rational and it's not better to be ethical. It's not better to be a man and it's not better to be a woman. We're all supposed to be simply work together. Women are saying that men are all disgusting and men are all always trying to cheat and they don't care and they can be called dogs and that's not the case. Because I'm a man and I don't feel to do all of those things what people talk about. It actually offends me for somebody to accuse me of those things. Although I look and I sound and my approach and my behaviour is in the way that I can understand why somebody thought that. Hence why I don't get upset. But deep inside it hurts me because that's not me. And I know many men like me who feel the very same way. And there's a lot of women out there who behave what you stereotypically call like a man. So when they're now behaving like how they man are making you feel bad about yourself, then you get angry and attack. And once you attack, they then behave like a woman. And when they behave like a woman, then that rhetoric falls into place. And many men are suffering. And many women too are suffering. But instead of we say, let's look after men and we look after women, why don't we try to understand actually what's going on? There's a hell of a lot of people suffering out there and it's getting on my bloody nerves. Because me personally, as far as I'm concerned, I believe in absolute equal rights. I don't believe that a woman should get lesser or morer. I don't believe a man should get lesser or morer. I believe everybody should get based upon what they deserve. There are different types of people and everybody has their way of doing it. And each and every person should be allowed to do their way within reason for as long as it's not hurting somebody else. And instead of we always look upon the very normal ways. What's the normal ways we look at? Extroversion. Sensory, But not everybody's extroverted and not everybody's sensory. So those who are introverted and intuitive, their word doesn't matter. So they can be bullied, humiliated and ridiculed as much as anybody likes. Because nobody hears that voice. That voice is left in a cupboard. That voice becomes like a doormat that you walk upon. But then soon as everything goes bad and you need someone to think outside the box, you need somebody to be abstract, you need someone to be absolute absent from the world in order to make a good decision. And all of a sudden now the intuitives and the introverts are now best things since sliced bread. How long are we going to keep on living this life? When are we ever going to wake up and realise we can't just go around throwing our opinions about people and calling people names just because they don't look like us, just because they don't sound like us? Because everybody's got something to offer each other. Everyone's got something to offer somebody else. Now we're in a big problem because people are talking about men and people are talking about women and a whole load of men. And I'm not sitting there for a minute and saying that women don't need their support. Because of course they do, because physically, biologically, a man is more stronger than a woman in general cases. But it is not always the case. Because some women will stamp on a man. And that man is not going to go to the police and say to the police, I just got beaten up by my woman. Very rare that's going to happen. And then there's many women, men, who are much more softer in their approach than a woman. Care more about looking after their kids and and nurturing people. And when that woman doesn't care about that, she's going to feel bad about herself. So she's going to tell everyone that she does. And when that person tries to explain that she doesn't do that, everyone's going to look at them like he's a bad person. How dare you say a woman doesn't care about her kids? And nobody said she didn't care, just said she's not nurturing. So she sits there, being no nurturing at all to the children. And the man does all of the nurturing. And then at the end of it all, after all the nurturing is done, then they come back and someone says, oh, you're doing such a good job with your children. And they don't say yes, but they certainly don't say no. And nobody would assume it was that man. They say, oh yeah, you're a good dad. That's not a good dad. That's a man doing his responsibility in the way that he felt comfortable. As a woman, as she felt comfortable, because she's not bad. The only bad thing she done wrong, because she didn't just stand up and say, you know what, I'm not a nurturing person. Thanks God for that man, because he is that way. My point is, it's not a man has to be. The only thing a woman has in natural nurturing, more than a man, is the fact that she has that baby and she's linked to that baby. But away from after that baby reaches 3, she doesn't necessarily have to be nurturing towards that child as much as a man. So we need to come away from this stereotype that men do this and women do that, because it's not the case. Look how much children now are growing up saying that they don't know if they want to be man or woman. How much children are growing up saying they don't know if they're gay or straight. And we keep blaming these gay people, blaming this and blaming that. Why don't we start taking responsibility for our own behaviour? Because while you start bullying and forcing children to make a decision of what sex and gender that they are, without just simply telling them by physical nature, you are this or you are that. But inside yourself, choose what you want to be. That's what we should have been telling our children. And the days we stop telling our children that this is going to happen. So you can keep on talking about knife crime. You can keep on talking about immigration, talk about politics and education. But until children feel comfortable to be themselves, this shit is just about to get worse. I'm sick of having conversations around and around and around about the argument. But every tree that you see outside started from a seed. And if that seed is not right, well then that tree will grow according to that seed. So I'm saying that I've got one thing to say and only one thing left to say. We need to give people, not just children, people, the freedom and the comfort to address who they really are. Not who the society wants them to be, who their parents want them to be. So what if you're Asian and you want to walk around like a Jamaican? So what if you're Jamaican and you want to walk around like a Portuguese? And so what if you're Portuguese and you want to walk around like an African? That's your prerogative. And we need to stop passing judgment, because it never said anywhere in the Bible, it never said anywhere that we're allowed to cast judgment. Man should only cast judgment they should only have judgment on themselves. We should never ever cast judgment. Because when you cast judgment, you bring back negativity back to yourself. And that's all I've got to say. Keep subscribing.